Then I looked, and suddenly, in the dome over the heads of the cherubim, there appeared above them something like sapphire that seemed to take the form of a throne. He spoke to the man clothed in linen. He said, "Go in between the wheels under the cherubim. Fill both your hands with fiery coals from between the cherubim and throw them on the city." As I watched, he went. Now the cherubim were standing to the right of the house of the man, entered the house, and the cloud filled the inner courtyard. The glory of Adonai rose from above the cherubim to the threshold of the house, leaving the house filled with the cloud, the courtyard above the brilliance of Adonai's glory. The sound of the wings of the cherubim could be even heard in the outer courtyard, surrounding like the voice of God, Shaddai, when he speaks. When he ordered the man clothed in linen to take fire from between the wheels, from between the cherubim, he went in and stood next to a wheel. And a cherub put out his hand from between the cherubim into the fire between the cherubim, took some of it, and put it in the hands of the one clothed in linen, who took it and went out. Now there appeared among the cherubim the form of a man's hand under their wings. I looked and saw 4 wheels next to the cherubim, one wheel next to the cherub, and another wheel next to another cherub. The wheel had the color of beryl. Their shape was the same, like all 4, like a wheel inside of a wheel. When they moved, they could go in any of the 4 directions without turning as they moved. Rather, wherever the head looked, they followed without turning as they moved. Their whole bodies, including their backs, hands, and wings, and all the wheels were full of eyes all around, even the wheel of the 4 cherubim. As for the wheels, I heard them called the wheel apparatus. Every one of the cherubim had 4 faces. The first face was the face of a cherub. The second face was the face of a man. The third face of a lion, and the fourth face of an eagle. Then the cherubim rose. These were all living creatures I had seen by the Kavar River. When the cherubim moved, the wheels went with them. When the cherubim lifted up their wings to rise off the ground, these wheels did not stop going with them. When the cherubim stood still, the wheels stood still. When the former rose, the latter rose with them, because the spirit of the living creatures was in them. Now the glory of Adonai left the threshold of the house and halted above the cherubim. The cherubim lifted their wings and rose off the earth. I was watching as they went off with the wheels next to them. They paused at the entrance of the gate of Adonai's house with the glory of God of Israel over them from above. This was the living creature I had seen beneath the God of Israel by the Kavar River. So I knew they were cherubim. Each of the 4 had 4 faces. Each had 4 wings. Looked like a man. Each had 4 wings, and what looked like a man's hand was under their wings. As for how their faces looked, they were the faces I had seen by the Kavar River, identical in appearance, for each one moved straight ahead. Then the Spirit lifted me up and brought me to the east gate of Adonai's house, the gate that faced eastward. At the entrance to the gate, I saw 25 men. Among them were Yasahiah, the son of Azur, and Dilianhu, the son of Benaiah, leaders of the people. He said to me, "Human being, these are the men who make evil plans and give wicked advice in the city. They say, time hasn't come to build houses. The city is cooking pot. We're the meat. Therefore prophesy against them, human being, prophesy." The Spirit of Adonai fell on me, and he said to me, "Say, here is what Adonai says. What you are saying is correct, house of Israel, because I know how your minds work. You have killed many in this city, and you have filled its streets with dead. Therefore Adonai Elohim says this: those you have killed and strewn all over it, they are the meat. This city is indeed the cooking pot. but you will be removed from it. You are afraid of the sword, but I will bring the sword upon you, says Adonai Elohim. I will bring you out of it, hand you over to foreigners, and execute judgment among you. You will die by the sword. I will judge you at the border of Israel. You will know that I am Adonai. The city will not be your cooking pot, but you will be the meat in it. I will judge you at Israel's frontier. You will know that I am Adonai. You have not lived by my laws or obeyed my rulings, but have acted according to the rules of the nations surrounding you. As I was prophesying, Plateu, son of Benaiah, died. He fell down on my face and cried out, "Oh, Adonai Elohim, are you going to destroy completely those of Israel who are left?" And the word of Adonai came to me, "Human being, it is to your kinsmen, your brothers, your relatives, and the whole house of Israel that the people are living in Jerusalem have said, 'Get away from Adonai. This land has been given to us to possess.' Therefore says that Adonai Elohim says this, true, I removed them far away from the nations and scattered them among the countries. Nevertheless, I have been a little sanctuary for them in the countries to which they have gone. Therefore say that Adonai Elohim says this, I will gather you from the people and collect you from the countries where you have been scattered. I will give the land of Israel to you, and you will go there and remove all its loathsome things and disgusting practices. I will give them unity of heart. I will put a new spirit among you. I will remove from their bodies the hearts of stone and give them hearts of flesh, so that they will live by my regulations, obey my rulings, and act by them. And they will be my people, I will be their God. But as for those whose hearts go after the heart of their loathsome things and disgusting practices, I will bring the consequences of their ways on their own heads, says Adonai Elohim. The cherubim lifted their wings, and the wheels were next to them, with the glory of God of Israel above them, over them and above. Next, the glory of Adonai rose from within the city and stood over the mountain, which is on the east side of the city. And the Spirit lifted me up and brought me in a vision by the Spirit of God to the exiles in the land of the Casdim, which were the visions I had seen left me. So I was told, the exiles, everything Adonai had shown me. The word of Adonai came to me, human being, you are living among us a rebellious people. They have eyes that can see, but they do not take notice. And they have ears that can hear, but they do not pay attention, because they are rebellious people. So you, human being, prepare supplies for exile, and during the daytime, as they watch, go away as if you are going into exile. Leave your place and go somewhere else as they watch. Prepare, perhaps they will take notice, even though they are a rebellious house. Bring out your belongings during the day while they watch, as supplies for exiles, and you yourself, while they watch, you are to leave as people do who are going into exile. Dig a hole through the wall while they watch, and carry your belongings out through it. While they watch, you are to shoulder your pack and carry it out into the dark with your face covered, so that you can't see the ground, for I'm making a sign for the house of Israel. So I did this, and I had been ordered. I brought out my belongings during the day as supplies for exile. In the evening, I dug a hole through the wall with my hand, and I carried my pack out my shoulders in the dark as they watched. In the morning, the word of Adonai came to me, human being, the house of Israel, that rebellious house, has asked you, what are you doing? Tell them that Adonai Elohim says this, prophesy concerning the prince of Jerusalem and all the house of Israel there. Say, I am a sign for you. As I have done, so it will be done to them. They will go into exile, into captivity. Prince who is with them will shoulder this pack and leave it in the dark. They will dig holes through the wall to carry out their supplies. He will cover his face so that he won't be able to see the ground with his eyes. I will spread my net over him. He will be caught in my snare. Then I will bring him to Baval, to the land of the Casdim, but he will not see it. even though he is going there to die. I will scatter to every wind all who are in attendance to him to help him, along with all his troops, and I will pursue them with the sword. They will know that I am Adonai, and I scatter them among the nations, disperse them among the countries, but I will spare a few of them from the sword, famine, and plague, so that they can tell about all their disgusting practices among the nations where they go. Thus they too will know that I am Adonai. The word of Adonai came to me, human being. Shake as you eat your food, tremble anxiously as you drink your water, and say to the people of Israel, here is what Adonai Elohim says concerning those living in Jerusalem, the land of Israel. They will eat their bread in anxiety and drink their water in horror, because the land will be desolate from everything that fills it due to the violence of those living there. The inhabited cities will be laid waste. The land will be desolate. You will know I am Adonai. The word of Adonai came to me, human being. Don't you have this proverb in the land of Israel? Times keep passing and none of the visions are fulfilled. Therefore tell them that Adonai Elohim says, I will put an end to that proverb. Never again will they use it as a proverb in Israel. Tell them, time has come for the fulfillment of every vision. There will no longer be empty visions or false optimistic divinations in the house of Israel, because I am Adonai. I will speak. Whatever statement I make, it will be accomplished. It will no longer be delayed. In your days, you rebellious house, I will speak the word and accomplish it, says Adonai Elohim. Again, the word of Adonai came to me. Human being, look. People from the house of Israel are saying the vision he sees concerns the distant future. He is prophesying about a time far off. Therefore say to them that Adonai Elohim says, none of my words will be delayed anymore. The word that I speak will be accomplished, says Adonai Elohim.